So here's the current state of affairs. My 1-year-old is strapped into her high chair having a mid-morning snack. And my 7-year-old is currently hunting me down for another game of Chutes and Ladders. Literally worst game ever. And then I gotta figure out what to feed them for lunch, the never-ending pile of laundry that's stacking up everywhere. Needless to say, I'm overwhelmed. But you know, amidst the chaos, there's this one island of calm. It's not my morning coffee, although that comes pretty darn close. It's actually something that other people find quite overwhelming, but that I find very, very zen, and that is mixing skin tones. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Of all things, that's what makes you feel zen, Margot? But I often get asked how I go about with that. Brown and yellow, burnt umber and raw sienna, orange and blue, complementaries. I used to feel the exact same way, not knowing where to start. The truth is that skin tones are actually quite complicated. I mean, it's not rocket science, but it's not one size fits all either. So I'm going to show you my step-by-step method for mixing the perfect skin tones in the least stressful way possible. So that by the end of this video, you will hopefully be less overwhelmed than I currently am today. Let's get started. So what I'm going to show you is what I consider to be my base. Every skin tone that I mix starts with a mixture of red and green. The idea here for red is that no matter where you're from in the world, no matter where you were born, what your ethnicity is, and what you look like, we all have blood under the surface of our skin. I know, pretty gross, but that affects our perception of the color of skin. And you can kind of see that a little bit sometimes if you're working out or you get embarrassed and your face gets red. It's because there's more blood flowing to your face when that happens. So red is always my starting point. What I do is add something to that red to give it depth and to neutralize it. I'm gonna grab the complementary color. So if you look at the color wheel and you find the color right across from red, it's green. So I'm gonna grab some green, and you can mix your own green from your primaries if you want, but between you and me, I'm gonna be lazy today. And I'm gonna mix my red with the green, and that should create a neutral color. And a little reminder that I've used over the years is just to remember it as the Christmas colors. So just mix it around and eyeball those two colors until you get some kind of brown. And you can either have it be a middle brown or one that leans a little red if you're going for something a little peachier. So this is the base on which you can then mix more complex skin tones, which I'll get to in a minute, but it can also be used just like this too. So if I water this down, you'll see that we get a very neutral Caucasian skin tone, and you can also use a higher ratio of paint to water to get into deeper and darker skin tones. Generally though, I like to be conservative with how much paint I put down for skin on the first go around, because in my opinion, the beauty of watercolor is in the luminosity you get when the white is showing underneath the paper. So from here to here, we have a range of fair to deeper skin tones with just that combo of red and green. Pretty neat, right? But here's where things get really interesting. Now we can start talking about undertones. So before we dive into mixing skin undertones, let's talk a little bit about something else. Let's talk about skin care. It's something that catches our attention the first time we meet someone. Beyond just the colors that we're mixing on our palettes, it's also about the texture, the glow, the overall health of someone's skin that can either make them look really vibrant and alive or dull and tired. As a mom who is currently grappling with sleep deprivation and who has chronically dry skin. I mean, no joke, my skin is like the surface of the Sahara Desert. I have been for years now looking for a miracle. I have found that holy grail, and it has completely changed my skin for the better. It's what's known as the UFO3 facial hydration device, and it's by a company called Foreo, Sweden. And Foreo has actually partnered with me for the creation of this video all about skin tones. How perfect, right? I've been using the UFO3 for a couple of months now, and it has been like a secret weapon. It's like a pocket-sized spa, so that even if I only have 5 minutes to spare between picking up toys, cooking dinner, or filming this YouTube video, I can still prioritize skincare in my day. It syncs up with the Foreo app, so I can customize my treatment by using one of their seriously luxurious masks together with one of the device's many settings like thermotherapy, cryotherapy, and even T-sonic massage, which helps the skin absorb the full benefits. It's clinically proven to increase skin hydration by 126% in just 2 minutes, which as a result reduces the appearance of wrinkles. I mean, do I really need to say more here? So anyway, Foreo has generously decided to give our little community 30% off when purchasing the UFO3 device. But here's the kicker. There's a little extra love for the first 50 people. Use the coupon code MARGO10 at checkout for an additional 10% off. So if you're like me and you're trying to find the balance between creating art every day and the art of aging gracefully, let's just put it that way, then something like this could be a great addition to your daily routine. I know it is for mine, so check it out. So thanks again to Foreo for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back to our palettes. Every person has an undertone in their skin color. So if you go to any makeup counter, you'll find that foundation and concealer usually come in 3 undertones: neutral, warm, and cool. So again, depending on where you're from and your ancestral lineage, this is going to vary from person to person. A warm undertone means that you have a bit more yellow in the mix, and a cool undertone means that you have more blue. And this is true no matter how light or deep your skin tone is. So what does that mean for us and how we mix our colors? Well, here's where it's super easy. You start with a base, and from this mixture, we can start to either go with a warmer bias or a cooler bias just by adding yellow or blue to it. I'm gonna grab our color base right now, and I'm gonna add some lemon yellow, but any yellow, in your palette will get you there. And as I start to mix it, you can see how I get from neutral to something way bronzer and warmer. And if I water it down, I'm gonna start getting a warm vanilla kind of color. Think Lucy Liu or Jessica Alba. And if we go with a darker concentration and less water, we start getting into Halle Berry or Beyonce type deeper but warm complexions. So I'm gonna start with the base again, and now, this time, I'm gonna pop in some blue. But one quick thing I want to note before I grab my blue is that when you're mixing skin tones, you generally want to avoid any pigment that has granulation in it. So ultramarines, cobalts, ceruleans, basically anything that creates texture, unless of course you're going for a more textured skin or freckles or something like that. Generally speaking though, I personally think it's easier to avoid textures altogether when you're doing skin tones, and it's better to just paint the texture in so that you can control the outcome a little bit better. So in my case, I'm gonna be reaching for a blue that I know is gonna be very smooth. So I'm gonna grab my phthalo blue because it's, like I mentioned, buttery and it's easier to mix. Only thing to watch out with phthalo though is that it's like a nuclear bomb of color. So you really have to be very conservative and add only the tiniest amount of it, or you'll end up with a blue person. And if you see that it gets too violet, add more green, add more red, just balance it out until you get something that's fairly neutral looking and that doesn't get too violet or too green. And examples of real-life celebrities with cooler skin tones are celebrities like Anne Hathaway, Emma Stone, Viola Davis. And one thing I also want to note here is that another thing that influences the color of someone's skin is actually going to be the lighting. And that's really important to mention because you'll want to make sure that the color of their skin actually reflects the lighting conditions of the room that you're painting. So if someone is standing like on a sunny beach, You'll want to air a little warmer versus if someone is standing in the middle of a wintry scene where you might want to get some cooler notes and some blues picked up from the surroundings. No matter what though, I always start from my base, the red and the green, and then add whatever color undertones or lighting biases I need to do to accomplish what I'm looking for. Now, I know of other artists who will choose different complementary colors like orange and blue or purple and yellow and mix them together, maybe add a touch of red here or a touch of blue. And you could certainly do it that way. However, in my opinion, I feel that easily gets super confusing and all over the place. So doing it my way kind of creates a step-by-step system so you never find yourself forgetting what you actually put in your mix to begin with. So if you start with the same base, it kind of eliminates the risk of having way too many inputs and then just forgetting what you were doing and not knowing how to get there again. And let's just recap the whole thing real quick. Right here we have red plus green, our base, aka Christmas. Then for warmer undertones, we do red and green plus yellow. And then finally, for cooler undertones, we can do red and green plus blue. So it's really just adding one extra ingredient if you need to move it from neutral to warm to cool. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that it gave you a nice step-by-step method for mixing your skin tones in as stress-free a method as possible. And if you're interested in learning how to draw people in a very simple, approachable way, I'm going to link a video right here which should help get you started. As always, thank you so much for watching me on my videos. Love you so much, artists. And I've got to get back to the tornado that is my family. See you in the next one.